Welcome to day 7 of Turn It On Again, our tribute to the band Genesis here on Kit's Rock Review. And yesterday I played The Silent Sun from Genesis's first album, From Genesis to Revelations. And today I thought, that's a little known album. Their first album's not one of their more popular albums, so I thought what I'd do today is play something from their little listened to final album called Calling All Stations. I am one of 3 people. I'm actually 100,000. When this was first released, 100,000 people bought this, which is far short of expectations that normally go with the band, or at least 100,000 people in the United States. And I'm one of those 100,000 people that bought this first album when it came out, or this last Genesis album when it came out. Anyway, since I did the Little Listen to first album, I thought I'd do the Little Listen to last album today. And I'm going to concentrate on a song, my favorite song on this album, called The Dividing Line. And I think, Kit Hutchinson's personal opinion, that if The Dividing Line had been on any other Genesis record during either the Phil or Peter Gabriel eras of the band, it would be considered a Genesis classic. But because it's on good old Calling All Stations, no one listens to it, no one knows what it's about. And, that people do have problems with this album, and I even have some problems with this album. I know it's not the best Genesis album in the world, but I don't think it's an awful album like I keep seeing reviews of it online. There are about 3 songs on this album that if I were Mike and Tony, I would not have included. I would have not included Not About Us, If That's What You Need, and Uncertain Weather. Those 3 songs are pretty generic songs, but there are songs that they recorded during this that they didn't even include on the album. They included them as B-sides, and they've later said that they probably should have put those songs on the albums. They're called Sign Your Life Away and Anything Now. They should have been on this album, they're not. But if you get some of their box sets, they included some of the stuff they didn't put on the album on some of their box sets. Anyway, so let's get, as many of you know, Phil Collins left the band around 96. And at that same time, Mike and Tony decided, you know what, we're going to continue with Genesis. Genesis is more than Phil. And so they decided to continue the album. They met at their studio in Surrey, England, called The Farm. And they decided to sit and jam and write songs. That's how Genesis, in the later stages of the band, that's how they wrote songs. They would get in a room together, and they would jam until something came out. That's what they used on the Genesis album, the one that has Mama. That's what they did for Invisible Touch. That's what they did for We Can't Dance. And so Mike and Tony sat in a room and jammed until something developed and until songs developed. However, remember, Phil Collins is not only was he the lead singer, he was also the drummer for the band. And when they had jammed in the past, Phil would provide a beat for them. They didn't have Phil to provide that beat, so they set up a drum machine, and they would set at various speeds to see what would go with what they were jamming as. At one point, they set it faster than they normally did. And Mike and Tony, they actually liked that little faster beat. And it reminded them of a car chase or a police chase in a TV show. So what they did is they started calling before they had lyrics to it, they started calling it NYPD. This is a lot of time what they did before they had lyrics to the song, they just had musical ideas. They would give it a sample title. So the sample title for The Dividing Line was called NYPD because it had that faster beat that reminded them of a car chase. Now when they went, after they got Ray, by the way, Phil Collins was replaced. They did replace Phil Collins, as you know. The guy's name was Ray Wilson. He was in a Scottish grunge band called Stillskin. And the band Stillskin actually had a #1 hit in the UK called Inside. And I think I'm going to put that in the comments as well as the video for Dividing Line. But Ray Wilson had a different voice from Phil. And I think they were trying to go for a more Peter Gabriel-ish approach, and plus they wanted that grunge-sounding voice because it's the 90s and that's what everyone's listening to. But anyway, they hired Ray Wilson as the lead singer. They didn't really hire a full-time drummer. They had a couple session drummers on Calling All Stations, and one of the session drummers they had, his name was Nir Z. He was he is an Israeli session drummer. And they brought him in to record the drums and percussion for The Dividing Line. And they played him the drum machine track, and he went in the studio and, provided the drums for it. And Mike and Tony were so impressed with his drumming that they hired him to be the new touring Genesis drummer. Chester Thompson, who had been the touring Genesis drummer, he was working with Phil, so they needed a new touring Genesis drummer. And they were so impressed with his performance on The Dividing Line that when it came to the live version of the song, they actually gave him an extra drum solo featured in the live performance of the song. And I'm going to put the live performance of the song in the comments. Lyrically, the song is about the divisions in humanity. That's why it's called The Dividing Line. And how some people pretend that, there's no more divisions in society, but yet we know today that there are divisions in society, and some people refuse to see it, but we know there are divisions. That's what lyrically the song is about. Musically, this song is a pretty progressive prog rock track. It's got some grungy, for the time, grungy Mike Rutherford lead guitar work. Yeah, you don't think of Mike Rutherford and grunge music. Of course, it has the Tony Banks keyboard solo, and why wouldn't it? It's Genesis. That's what Genesis is known for, is Tony Banks keyboard solos. And as I said, it does have that near Z drum solo. As I said, I think that if this had been on any other Genesis record, it would be considered a classic Genesis song. But unfortunately, it's on one of their least listened to records, so it's really not. So as I said, in the comments, I'll put the video for Stillskins Inside and the live video for The Dividing Line. You let me know what you think of The Dividing Line. Could it have been a Genesis classic had it been on any other record? Let me know. I really want to know. Anyway, until next time, you know what to do. Keep on rocking in the free world. I'll see you later.